It's my Chinaversary. It's my Chinaversary. Today is the day that I went to China 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Do you know what today is? Even though it's not today, like I went sometime in July 2011, so we're just gonna call it today. Do you know what today is? I'm about to put this. Oh, let's put this on my Instagram real quick. Live stream. Let's do like this. Hey, I'm going live on YouTube. Hey, talking about China and stuff and all other things, and it's gonna be fun. Oh, what did I do? Let me see. Okay, this one. Live. YouTube. YouTube. Live. YouTube. And then link in my bio. Here we go. Okay. So, first of all, I want to start by saying I got some sad news today. And I'm going to go into the whole story like throughout this live, but in a nutshell, my mentor, or second mom, if you will, Andrea, she's the woman who told me to learn Chinese. And the reason why we got to know each other was because we both had the same dog, right? So we started walking our dogs together. No, let's rewind even more, but like, let me just get to the point. But the point is, her dog, she's going to have to put her down. Her dog, Eartha Kit, which is like the cutest little puppy dog. She's a puppy, even though she was grown old, 13-year-old Pomeranian. Like, that's old. Like, honey, you old. But let me see if I can find like any kind of pictures with her, little Eartha, because she used to just do what's the word, like what do you call it, like meows. She'll go ow, 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 like purrs. She didn't bark. Ow, 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 ow. So it's kind of like, like Eartha Kitt. She played the original Catwoman. If you don't know who Eartha Kitt is, here, I'm going to put it in the chat. You got to look her up because, yes. And I've never I swear I love Eartha Kitt. Eartha Kitt. Yeah, so, today is my Chinaversary. Not today, like this month. I'm celebrating this whole month, but like I have been putting, procrastinating to film a video for some time, but I think I'm like back in motion. Like my wheels are turning again. So I'm going to be recording more videos. But like what I wanted to say was that I want to start from like the beginning and just tell like the whole story of me going to China, how that happened. Cherryman Gaming, hello. Working on my PC. Okay. Work on your PC. You can you don't have to look at me. I'm over here just talking. Okay, so we're gonna start from the beginning of the story. Anyway, we're gonna wait. Before that, we're gonna pour one out, even though this is water. I don't have any liquor. Pour one out for the kid. For the dog or the kid, not the and the human or the kid, both. We'll pour one out for both. So, okay, where do I start? So I think I'll start like this. I was born and raised in San Francisco, so I'm like what they call a unicorn because I'm like third or fourth generation San Franciscan. Okay, so like on my dad's side, my grandparents moved to San Francisco from Texas, and on my mom's side, I feel like they have been in San Francisco since like the 1800s or something like that. Like, so I'm pretty much I'm a native. Yes, I'm a native San Franciscan. You know, I don't really. I've never been to any other place. Like, even though my aunt now lives in Texas, or she's lived in Texas for a long time, but I've never been there. So my grandpa on my dad's side is from Houston, and my grandma on my dad's side is from, or was from. They both have passed on. What's the Tyler, Texas. So, anyways, born and raised in San Francisco. A mom and a dad, grandparents on both sides, two older brothers. One brother has a different father than me. So I kind of grew up as like a princess and a daddy's girl and spoiled and sheltered actually too. So I remember when I went in elementary school, right? I went to this elementary school called Edison Charter Academy, and can you believe I got expelled? What elementary school kid, who gets expelled from elementary school? That doesn't even make any sense. It didn't make any sense. It was like literally some kind of corruption, let me tell you. So why was like, this school was low key, like, how do I say this? Inner city. It wasn't like, well, it kind of was. Basically, it was a lot of Black and Latinos at the school, right? At this elementary school. And I was like the quote unquote white girl. You know how I'm saying, like, you talk white. Why are you talking white? Like, ugh, the ignorance of it all. Anyways, so I remember when I was in 5th grade, me and two other girls, black lady, it was a Blaxican school. It was a Blaxican school. Like, the kids used to take the bus, and my mama was not having me on the bus. My mama would pick me up, drop me off. My grandpa would pick me up, drop me off. My daddy would pick me up, drop me off. Me and my brother, like, no, we weren't. I never took the school, but never. So, and that's made, you know what I mean? Like, that's like a little bit like elite. Oh, so do you want to enable dictation? No. I think I pressed a button by accident. Anyway, okay, so there was me and two other girls, and we're both like little elementary school girls. Like, we're 5th grade. What is that, 9 or 10? And let me tell you, in the hallway at this, I hated this school so much because I was afraid of pigeons. Like, I grew up afraid, like I still do have a phobia of birds, ducks, geese, pigeons, seagulls. Like, I don't like any of them. And I remember like in the bathroom, right? There used to be pigeons in the bathroom. I would not go. I would tell the teacher, like, I need to use the staff bathroom, and they'd be like, you gotta use the student bathroom, and I would just pee on myself. I'd be like, I told you I ain't going in there. I'm not going in there. I remember one time there was a whole nest in there. I'm like, this is just too much for me. So, and I used to be in the cafeteria. I wouldn't go in that cafeteria. I wouldn't go. And my dad would be like, why can't you go in there? I said, He'd be like, okay, well, it is what it is. So anyway, that's me in elementary school. Oh, another thing I remember. There was this one guy I had a crush on. Boy. He was a kid. We were kids, okay? This was when I was in 3rd grade. I had a crush on him. His name was Adrian something. Kusic, whatever. And he was like Croatian. Even though I didn't know that he was Croatian at the time. He just wasn't Black, in my opinion. Or he wasn't Latino. He was like something else. He wasn't white. He was like super racially ambiguous. And I remember I told him, right? Because I was like, hey, I like somebody. He was like, oh, who do you like? And I was like, and I told him, I like you, but I told him his breath stinks. Oh my gosh. But it was true. It really did. It really did. It was. So then, okay, so I'm telling you about how I got expelled from elementary school. So like in 5th grade, there was this gaping hole in the wall. I'm talking this huge hole that had been there for months on months. The school district didn't do anything about it. The school didn't do anything about it. It was just there. It was just that one hole that everyone knew about. And I remember, but I guess the teachers didn't know, but corruption, I'm sure they did know, because that hole was huge. It was the elephant in the room kind of thing. It's like, what? Okay, anyway. So me and 2 other girls, I feel like one girl's name was Lamisha. I want to look these people up and see if they remember, but I don't remember Lamisha's last name, and we don't have a yearbook. And I remember another girl's name was like Kayla, or was it not Kayla? It might have been another girl, but 3 little black girls, right? Me, Lamisha, and Kayla, I think. That might have not been Kayla, might have been Kayla. And Kayla, I remember her name was like either White or West, something with a W. So like I have to hunt for her on Facebook or something. But Lamisha, I don't remember her last name. And we don't have a yearbook. But anyway, so I remember once the 3 of us were just like looking at the hole and like picking at it because everyone did that. Everyone did that. And then there was this this teacher who was like this older black male who had this like fully gray dreadlocks that looked like they were barely hanging on. And he taught music, and he had us make those like, remember those African kind of instruments that you would make out of like a squash or a gourd, and it had the beads. Did y'all ever do that? And then you like shake it. I don't remember what it's called, but we used to have to make that. And we sing this one song, and I don't know what the name of the song is, but it was like our school anthem, or at least, oh no, his name was like Bubba Mac, right? And we're so ghetto kids. We called him Bubba Crack. I hate this. So we used to sing this song in the class using these little tambourines and gourd African drum beat thingies. And the song was wisdom, justice, courage, and compassion. May they always ever be in fashion. Hope, respect, responsibility, and don't forget. I hate this. Words to live by. So we just sing that every day. Anyway, me and the 2 girls were picking at the hole like everyone used to do. And Bubba Crack comes and sees us picking at the hole, a hole that had been there for months, if not years, a long time, and has us go to the principal's office. The 3 of us are blamed for this hole in the wall that you would probably need a whole sledgehammer to make, and they were like, oh, they kicked the wall. I was like, we are children. How would we be able to kick a wall through? ? But we got blamed for it, the 3 of us. And we were not allowed to, this was like a month or so before our elementary school graduation. And we weren't allowed to graduate or walk on stage or whatever it was. So I got expelled from elementary school. Or ish. Like, was not able to. I remember my dad ended up going to the office, like the administration's office. They called him there, and he was just like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Like, she said she didn't do it. They said they didn't do it. How would they be able to do it? Like, y'all are really just on some corrupt stuff. Like, just get the hole fixed. Why would you blame it on children? And you know what? To add fuel to the fire, the administration was all black. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm just recalling my life. Okay, so that happened. And then I went to what is it called? I went to a predominantly white Filipino Catholic school from 6th grade to 8th grade. And there were like less than 200 students at the entire school. And, each grade had only one class. And my grade, which I was 6th grade at the time, the class that I graduated with, they had 21 boys and 9 girls. Yeah, one of them was cute. No, I had a few crushes, whatever. So, sixth grade, it was me and one other black girl, and she had been going there since she was in kindergarten. And then I came in, and I was like coming from the Blaxican school, and the Blaxican school was like lit, like we used to like play kickball and double dutch, and we used to do like the little, that little stuff. We used to do all that, we used to double dutch, we did all that stuff. And then you go to this one, and it's like, oh, she's, and it's like, well, you can just see how many stereotypes are like worked throughout like our society, because at this school I was too white, and at this school I was too black. It was like, but okay, whatever. Anyways, so went to that school all throughout eighth grade. The worst experience of my life. I think that school sucked, and if I could, I would totally have it banned. Not banned. I mean, I would. I'm not going to say that, but you know what I would do. Y'all know what I would do. How would I obliterate that school? I don't know. I would have it nuked if I could, but whatever. So that school sucked. 3 years sucked. And I remember it was like a Catholic school. I mean, like I grew up like, we used to go to Lutheran church. Like, I don't even know what Lutheran means. I don't know what that is, but like I used to go to Sunday school and all that stuff. But that stuff was like always like, I had a first communion and church friends and stuff like that. And then, but this school was like Catholic, and so there was nuns and stuff like that. And I used to drive those little Filipino nuns crazy. I swear, because I came in, like, oh my God, she's from the, and during the religion class, I would just raise my hand, and I would be very like curious and, well, prove it to me. I like challenging them. I would say stuff like, well, how do you know? Well, if that happened, then why not just blah? And yeah, I drove those little nuns crazy. So I think I didn't get suspended from that school, but I got in trouble a lot at that school. But anyway, so graduated from there, moved on to high school. High school was like a weird experience because everything was just, I went to a school called School of the Arts, SOTA, in San Francisco. And basically it was known as like a joke. A joke. The whole school was just like the joke of the city. We were known as like the pothead school, and like, I don't know, just it was just a weird 4 years. And I had some pretty cool friends, and I don't know, I kind of just made it through that. But I remember in my junior year, or was it the end of my sophomore year? Yes, my junior year. So at this school, we had 2 schools in one campus. They had the School of the Arts, and then they had the school that I technically went to, which was the Academy of Arts and Sciences. And it was like a new project or flagship school that they started like the year before. So I was the second graduating class. And at School of the Arts, you actually had an art concentration, and it was pretty serious. Like you would have like either dance, music, drama or theater, what else? Art, visual art, singing, etc. Creative writing, media. And at Academy of Arts and Sciences, which I went to, we also had a concentration. Mine was creative writing. I actually won like a poetry slam thing at my school, which was pretty cool when I was a freshman. Anyways, so I remember my junior year, I had like a small group of friends, and they were all like, it was the most United Nations friends ever. It was me, this Mexican girl, this Chinese girl, this white girl. Like, it was just it was just such like mixed cultures or mixed ethnicities together. So it was pretty cool. And I remember all of them were going to Italy on a school trip. And I can't quite remember how like the school trip came about, but it was like an exchange program between an Italian art school and our school, or the two of our schools. So for months, they were going to weekly meetings with the teacher who was organizing the trip to discuss it, etc., etc. And they were always like, "Why don't you come to one of the meetings?" And for me, like, I never grew up like knowing about the world. I really never did. I don't know anyone who traveled. Like, the most people would travel, from what I know, is like go to Jamaica on a cruise. That, like, that's not real travel. I didn't know people who like went to Paris or London or any of the above. It was just like most people that I knew don't even really have passports, in my family at least. And so for me, like, hearing my friends going to another country was like me trying to go to the moon now. It was like, what? I didn't even know you can go to the moon. You can go to the moon? How much that's cost? That must be $1 million. Like, that's how I looked at it, and I was like, okay, I'm not even gonna be bothered with uh going to these meetings, because I know I don't have any money. And at the time my parents were divorcing, so it was like weird time in my life. I don't have the money, like, so I'm not even gonna bother. And so one of my friends, she had persuaded me. She was like, just come to one of the meetings. And I went, and the teacher who was organizing it, he was like, don't let money be the reason you don't go. And he asked me, do you want to go? And I was like, yeah. He says, okay, go. Well, yeah, you're in. And I was like, but how can I pay for it? He's like, oh, don't worry, I'm gonna put it all on my card, on my credit card, and you just pay me back. And yeah, so that prompted me to okay. So I went back, asked my mom. I said, what do you think about going in? She's like, yeah, if you can go, go. And so that prompted me to find a job. And I think I was 16 at the time. Yeah, I was 16. And I was like, okay, no, I went to school all in the same neighborhood as where I lived. So I basically could take a bus for 10 minutes, walk for less than half an hour to get to my school. And then the job that I wanted was like a 10-minute walk from my house in the other direction. And I was like, okay. And it was this little grocery store that had just opened. And I was like, oh, I want to work there. Okay. Like, that's where I want to work. It's perfect. It's right by the school. It's right by my house. Da 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 da. Okay, let me see if they're hiring. So I went there and asked if they were hiring. They told me, yeah, we're thinking of hiring a grocery bagger. Mind you, this is like a store that's like, I don't know, maybe like a fourth the size of a Trader Joe's, or half the size of a Trader. It's tiny. It's a tiny, maybe two sizes of a large convenience store. And so I went there. I asked for the manager, and I was like, and I never had a job before this. And I was the first in my whole friend group to get a job. So I went there and I was like, can I have an application? Actually, and I introduced myself too. And he was like, yeah, we're thinking of hiring for a grocery bagger, but we'll let you know. Just fill out the application and then we'll get back to you. I said, okay, well, when are you going to get back to me by? And they were like, oh, soon. And I was just kind of like, okay, I'm not going to really take that as an answer. So I went back a couple days later, maybe like less than a week. And I was like, haven't heard from you guys. I want to work here. I want a job. What's going on? And they were like, okay, we're still thinking about it. We're still thinking about it. And I think the manager ended up like scheduling an interview with me, and like, or not the manager, the owner. Because the second time I went, the manager was like, okay, I'll introduce you to the owner. And the owner was like, all right, we'll schedule an interview. Scheduled the interview, had the interview. And then I was like, okay, so are you going to hire me or not? Are you going to hire me or no? It's like, well, the issue had happened that they had a younger worker, like she was like 18 at the time. The youngest worker who had worked there at the time was 18, and she had accidentally sold some booze to a cop. So the store was fined a whole bunch of money and blah, 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 blah. And they just kind of equated it to like, oh, someone young is going to make that type of mistake. And yeah, so they were very reluctant about hiring me, but they at the same time, they were swamped during rush hours and in the mornings. Like they were swamped, like they didn't have anyone to bag. It was just chaos. So they needed to hire somebody to at least mitigate the chaos of the rush hour. So like they ended up hiring me because I kept going there being like, where my job at? Because you're underage, we're still blah, blah, blah. Anyway, long story short, I got hired. And so they hired me as a courtesy clerk, which is a fancy way to say grocery bagger. And my first day, there was a woman who came inside the store, a Black woman. So mind you, like this is like all kind of like most people who are shopping here are not. They're not. Okay, so just to be clear. And so basically, this woman comes in, and I'm like having my little like orientation, and I'm just standing like bagging the groceries or whatever. And she comes in, and she's got like this big bushy curly hair. She's got freckles. She's like lighter skinned Black woman, and she's wearing this like tracksuit with a big old purse with a little dog in it. And the dog is just a tiny Pomeranian, like a teacup Pomeranian. And so she comes up to me, and the first thing she says is, "Oh, they finally hired a Negro." And I was like, jaw dropped. I swear, I was stunned. I was just like, "Ooh, avoid." And she would come in every day, and I just hated her. She was like just so obnoxious and just so off-putting to me. I just did not like her from anything. So I worked there from April 2009 until September 2009. And I went to Italy in early September. So all those months I was paying back the trip and everything like that. And we went to Italy early September 2009. And that was my first time leaving the country. And I mean, I hated Italy. I really did not have the best trip there. I did not like it because there was just so many birds. Ugh, it was just like anxiety. But I did love being outside of the United States. Like it was a ganja. It was like a zhuzh, So after I went to Italy and I came back, I think she had like in those 4 or 5 months that I was working there from April to September, like she and I would have like very limited interactions. She might ask me a question here or there, and I would just be like trying to avoid her as much as I possibly could. And yeah, so after I went to Italy, came back, my brother, who's like 1 year older than me, he wanted a Pomeranian for I don't know how long, right? And me and my brother really don't have a relationship. Like me and neither of them. Like it's not anything personal. It's just more like we just don't vibe. Like we just don't. And so one day he texted me. This is in September. And he was like, "Come in my room." And I said, in my head, I said, "Oh, he got a dog." Because I feel like something happened. Oh, there was some kind of reason why me and like my cousins, we all got some money. I forget why. We got like $1,000. So I bought like a MacBook. My brother bought a puppy. I went in there, and that was my puppy, Honey. And so like when he got her, the dog, he got sick of her after one day, ended up giving her to my mom, like, "Mom, take her. Like, it's been a cute day, but I can't. So I remember like when Andrea came into the store and she has little Eartha Kit, the teacup Pomeranian that she takes with her everywhere. She calls it her service dog. She'll be like, "Oh yeah, well, what kind of service does she provide? She keeps me from smacking a motherfucker." That's what she says. And so, after I got back from Italy, my brother got the dog. I see Andrea in the store all the time. Like I said, she lived right across the street. She was like, I said to her, "Oh, we got a Pomeranian." She's like, "Oh, we should walk our dogs together just in the area." And we started walking our dogs together. And I told her all about me going to Italy and all that stuff. And she was like, "Oh, that's fabulous. You're so fierce. You're so this, you're so that." And I was like, "Oh, really? Yes. Okay. Hey." And she told me, "What are you going to do after high school?" Because at this point, I think I'm in my senior year. Right. Yes. Yes. I'm in my senior year of high school. And everybody's, like doing the whole SAT thing and all that stuff. I was just not about that life. And so she asked me what I wanted to do after high school. And I said to her, "Well, like I really like fashion. I want to I don't want to go to a 4-year university. I'm just going to go to community college, but I'm going to learn another language. And I think I want to learn French or Italian because I like fashion. Maybe I'll move to Paris or something, or Milan or something like that." And she was like, "No, no, 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 no. Learn Chinese. It's the language of the future." And I was like, "Ew, no." Because I honestly didn't know anything about Chinese culture, the world, economics, politics, geopolitics. I didn't know anything about that. Like, I'm a 17-year-old girl. I'm not even 17. I think I'm only 16 at that point. And so I know nothing about it. And I said, like, as ignorant as most people are about China, that's how I was. Like, I didn't know anything about China. I thought China meant Panda Express, and that's it. I swear to you. Hey, that's what I felt. And so I was just like, really not, I'm not going to say disgusted, but I just I was not seeing the vision. Chinese? Me? What? I remember, y'all, this is how ignorant I used to be. See, I feel like I'm calling myself out of my ignorance. So, okay, so y'all don't cancel me now. Okay, this was 2008. Okay, so pre-Twitter, pre-Instagram. This was back when I was in high school. There was one Chinese American girl, and this is before she even told me to learn Chinese. Like, girl, this is before all of that. I used to go up to her, and we were friends. Like shout out to her for not smacking me across the face, because I would have been like, "That's so ignorant." So I used to say to her, "Hey, ching chong 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 chong. Am I saying anything?" And she would be like, "No." I'm looking back at myself like, "Oh, the ghetto, the ghetto, the ghetto." So that was my like perception of China. None. Zero. I didn't even like Chinese food, even though like what we eat in America is not really authentic Chinese food, and stop thinking it is, because it's not. But okay. So for months, it was months that she like persuaded me. She was like, "I'm telling you, learn Chinese. I'm telling you." Like, she's like, "They gonna rule the world. You better learn Chinese." And I'm like, "No, can you like give it up already? I'm not learning Chinese. I'm learning French or Italian, going to city college. I'm gonna hee ha ha on the Champs-Elysees, I'm not going to the Great Wall." Like all like girl. It was ignorance, like literal ignorance. So I was just kind of like, no, no, no. So, I mean, we would walk our dogs together like every week. And then I also would see her all the time, because not only was she like basically my neighbor, but also she lived right across the street from my job. So I saw her all the time. So all the time, like every couple days it would be. "So did you start learning Chinese yet? I'm telling you. Don't say I didn't tell you so." And I'm like, Jesus Christ, how was this going to take for this woman to like get off my back about it? Chinese? No. Ew. not ill, like now ill. I'm talking about then. I was really like repulsed. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Like seriously. So then, I feel like in, I don't know when, but let's just say like that was from September all the way into like pretty much graduated the following year, 2010, which was, like July, June, no, not July, June or something like that. I finally said, fine, girl, fine. I signed up for Mandarin at City College. Starts in August. Are you happy now? Like literally, that's it. I just wanted her to leave me alone and shut up about it. Like that's it. I didn't want to learn Chinese. I just wanted her to shut up. I just wanted her to shut up. And I'm like, see, let's just see if you're right. Chinese. And I mind you, like I said, I didn't know anything about China becoming the superpower. None of this. I'm like, ugh. So signed up for the class August, right? For August. But before I graduated or during the summer, I was like, I'll be damned if I'm going to be the freaking dumbest one in the class, because I know Chinese is supposed to be a really hard language. Like the way you hear it, it just sounds hard. Because it all sounds the same. Like if you don't have the ear, like now I have the ear. This is 11 years ago. So before then, all I hear is chong, ching, chong, ching, chong, chung, chong, chong, chong. That's all I hear. And that's ignorant. We know. Okay. Don't cancel me. I am just saying how I thought back then. Okay. Please don't cancel me. So yeah, Chinese is very hard to learn. And so I was like, okay. And at that time, like there was YouTube, of course, but I don't think YouTube was what it is now. Like my first instinct is not to go YouTube Mandarin Chinese 10 years ago. Like it wasn't. So I would go to a library and check out a book. Like it's like, what century is that in? That? Yes, we used to check out books. So I went to the library and I found all the Mandarin things I could. I think I ordered something from not even from Amazon. Like at that point, I think Amazon was still just selling books or something like that. So I got some, it was what was the company? I can't remember the company, but I went on like I Googled best Chinese learning audio book tapes and blah, 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 blah. And I got this like random booklet that came with like some CDs. But I wrote, learning Japanese kanji isn't hard. Oh, you're better than me. I find kanji, even though like I know all the kanji because I speak Chinese, I can read Chinese, but like I can never remember how to pronounce it in Japanese. I'm always like, oh, that means this, but how do I say it? Oh, no, I do. So I got like a booklet that came with some CDs and it was 40 lessons, right? And I was like, okay, I'm going to do this whole book. Like I'm very ambitious, so I said I'm going to do the whole book by the end of the summer. And I mean, like if I had reached that goal and did the whole booklet by the end of the summer, I wouldn't have even needed the class. Like I would have been so much more advanced, right? So the first lesson, it's the audio CD-ROM, whatever. Is it CD-ROM? No, CD accompanied the book. And the first lesson was the 4 tones, right? And when I tell you, my brain exploded. I was listening to it. I started to cry. I literally cried. And I called Andrea and I said, what the heck is this? What? You got me doing this. I'm already signed up for this stuff. I already paid for it. And you got me doing this Chinese stuff. Like, I'm pissed. Pissed off. I hate you. Like, I hate you, Jody. I was like that. I was really bad. I said, what did I say? So, you know what this woman did? She came to my house and she says, okay, we're going to, no. Like, calm down. Because mind you, she doesn't speak Chinese. She's from LA. Not that people from LA, but she's a Black woman from LA. Let's just say that. Middle-aged Black woman from LA. She does not speak Chinese. She does not have a Chinese husband. She has not been to China. She doesn't know Chinese relations. She was just like a very woke person. So she comes to my house and is like, she'd been to my house before. You know what I mean? We neighbors, basically. She comes to my house and she was like, okay, we're going to figure this out. Play it again. And it's like, and the CD-ROM is going, B, 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 B. And we're like, I'm like, it all sounds the same. It all sounds the same. And she's like, no, wait, let me hear it again. I kind of hear the second one and the third one. I think the first one and the third one are kind of different. They kind of sound like, okay, we're gonna figure this out. Let's figure this out. I said, whew, it was like that. And I just remember just being like, wow, this woman really wants me to freaking learn Chinese. She came here and we spent like 4 hours at my kitchen table trying to figure out the 4 tones. I don't know how far we got, like how effective it was, but it didn't matter. It was just the gesture of like, okay, no, don't give up. Like, this can be learned. We can figure this out. And so yeah, we figured it out. Well, no, I don't, like I said, I cannot remember if we figured out the difference of the 4 tones, because I feel like the tones were like a big struggle for me for my first couple years of learning Chinese. And so I remember I got up to like, out of 40 lessons, I got up to 4. I was supposed to take the whole summer and do a lesson. And it wasn't even that hard. I feel like I don't know, I can't remember. I have to go back to San Francisco. I'm in Sacramento right now to see like what book that was and what kind of materials they taught and stuff like that. But I got up to lesson 4. And when I had the first day of school, my first Chinese class, because mind you, like I was also doing like general education. I was not I didn't have a declared major, but I was doing like English, math, economics, Chinese. So I was taking like all kinds of courses, and at City College of San Francisco. And so the first day of class of Chinese, right? I come to sit down, and everyone, like the teacher comes in the room, and she's like, 同学们好, blah 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 好, like she's saying stuff in Chinese, and I'm like, and then everyone is able to say 老师好, 老师好 means like hi teacher, and I'm like, how do I know that? It's like, hey, why am I the only one? Like, wait. The whole point of me doing this for a lesson was what I be doing in the class. And I was like, what? And so I'm sitting next to this like older white male. Because, you know, like when you go to community college, you really do encounter people of all kinds of backgrounds, right? Like people study at any point in their lives. So I said to him, I was like, well, how do you guys all know this? And I don't. He said, oh, did you just start? He's like, oh, because we learned all this last semester. And turns out I had accidentally signed up for Mandarin 1.2 instead of 101, or 102 instead of 101. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I said to the teacher, I said, I'm in the wrong class because I don't know anything. I learned like 4 words over the summer. I don't remember any of that. I don't think I could, you know. And she was like, oh, but like those 4 lessons I did, I was actually able to follow along a little bit. Just a little bit, because I think I learned a little bit of pinyin. Like, I can't quite remember, but like I was late a little bit, not too well, but enough to be like, oh, okay. So I finished the whole class that day, and she was like, okay, just drop this and then add this one. Here's the class code, whatever. So then the following day was my actual Chinese class 101, and I told the story like earlier today about like the teacher. She was from Taiwan, and she was cool. She was cool. Like first time she walked in, she said, all right, y'all need a Chinese name. Day 1, Chinese name. Take a syllable from your last name, and we're going to Chinify it, Chinesify it, Mandarinize it. Okay. And so I used the syllable rose. And she was like, okay, rose, zhong. And I was like, okay. And then the only word I knew at the time was like ni hao, and I knew mei li. I know those two words for some reason. Hello and beautiful. Hello, beautiful. Maybe I've been called beautiful before by some Chinese man on the street or something. I don't remember how I know those two, but somehow I did. And so Mei Li. And I said, okay, I want to be Rong Mei Li. And so she named me that. Cool. And then the next day I was like, I don't like that. I actually really don't like that. That's like kind of like a little bit tacky. Like, what's your name? Beautiful. Okay. Okay. So clearly, okay. Just like no shade to people like this. But it's like when your mom names you like precious or treasure. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just it's all just names. Who cares? But names that are words kind of bother me. No shade. So if there's any treasures out there watching, y'all fabulous. But anyway, I was just like, no, I don't think I like that anymore. Can you name me something else? And she was like, oh, okay. So instead of Mei Li, how about we say Ke Li? Ke Li. She's like, it kind of has the same meaning, but when Chinese people hear it, they would think like lovely or cute. Because like, okay, so Ke is, they have the word Ke Ai. Ke Ai. Ke Ai means cute. So it's like Rong Ke Li. Rong Ke Li. Oh, so Ke Ai. Like the Chinese people are like, oh, that's such a cute name. They always tell me that. Anyway, so that's how I got my Chinese name. And then we did the semester. It's funny because like when I signed up for the class, I was not expecting to like do well. Actually, I got an A. Like I would get 100% on everything. I just didn't know that I would be actually good at Chinese. Like what? Who? So the next semester, because okay, that class was spoken Chinese 101. We didn't do any characters. We only did pinyin and speaking, right? So no writing at all. And so the following semester, I took Chinese 101. So that's comprehensive, and it's speaking, reading, writing, listening, all of the above. And my teacher for the second semester, she is actually from Liaoning. Okay, I'll write that in the chat. It's a cool province in like northern China, Liaoning. And like they're kind of, how do I say it? They're like mixed with kind of like a Mongolian, Russian, like very much like, I'm gonna call them winter Chinese people. Like they're in the winter, they're in the cold climate in the frigid north. But anyway, so she was like this really petite Chinese woman, middle-aged Chinese woman with this like super, super duper long hair. I mean, her hair down to her knees type of long. And so on the first day of the class, and I was like really studious. Like I love going to Chinese class. Every other class that I took, hated them. English class, economics, math, everything. I'd be like sinking into the back like this. But Chinese class, I would always sit at the front. I would always be like engaged and ready to go like that. Like true passion. Are provinces like cities or counties? Provinces are like states. They're like states. So let me see. Like for instance, no, Shanghai's a bad example. I can't think of a county in Shanghai. But yeah, so it's like province, city, no, province, county, city, neighborhood, blah. Yeah. So Liaoning province. What was I going to say? Oh, okay. So the first day of class, she comes in with this long hair. She's like super petite. She's like this tall. She's just like tiny, tiny. And she's so sweet, beautiful, and like really long hair. And she says, hey, good morning. Like Tong Shui Men Hao. Tong Shui Men Hao means like hello students. And you say back, Lao Shi Hao. Lao Shi is teacher. Lao Shi Hao. Lao Shi Hao. Like Lao Shi Hao. And she was like, okay, y'all, let's get down to brass tacks. First of all, there's a speech contest in April. This is like February. Or no, January. Whenever this, yeah, you know how like the The semester starts after Martin Luther King Day. So January, she's like, there's a speech contest for this like organization, which is like the Chinese Language Teachers Association of California. Boom, that's it. CLTAC. Every year they have a speech contest statewide. And every year, students from Defense Language Institutes, aka DLI, win. So basically, DLI is a military institute where they are pretty much assigned to learn a language for military purposes, such as, I don't know, like hostage negotiations and stuff like that, all of the above, like they have to do like 6 hours a day of intensive Chinese study. And every year they win the speech contest. And she was like, this year I want someone from City College to win. You can get extra credit. Like, does anyone volunteer to do the speech contest? And look around, crickets, total crickets. And for me, I was like, I'll do it. Sure, why not? I had no expectations of it though. Like, I just really didn't. I was like, oh yeah, why not? Hey, there's something to do. And so she's like, okay, great, cool. So she had basically recorded herself. Like, she wrote my whole speech because I didn't speak Chinese at the time at all. She wrote my speech, recorded it on my phone, and would have me come to her office hours as often as possible for the next 3 months to recite the speech. Like, weekly, I would have to go there. And she'd be like, Budui, say it again. Wrong, do it again. No, do it again. Like this, dude. And I'm like, okay, dude. She's like, okay, good. Go to the next line. Blah, 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 blah. Wrong, do it again. Do it again. Again. No. Very Tiger Mom on me. It was like militant. She was like, no. Budui. So I can't quite remember the whole speech, but like, I'll get to this actual speech in a little bit. So I remember, so this is 2011, right? Around, February, March, April. So then April, the speech contest comes, and it was at Lowell High School in their auditorium. And there was like hundreds of people there. So they had different divisions. I didn't win the whole thing. They had like beginners, Mandarin, beginners, non-native speakers, like intermediate Mandarin, blah, 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 blah. I was for beginners Mandarin. The ghost. There's a ghost in this house, but the ghost is okay. He just closes the door every now and then. Did y'all hear that? Anyway, so I remember I went there with my, at the time, best friend. I told y'all about the best friend from the Aruba trip. Mm-hmm. She came to my speech contest with me, her and my grandma and another friend. And I remember everyone's in the audience, like practicing their speech, right? They have like this, like they have the piece of paper in their hand and they're just sitting there like, and for me, like I had been practicing the speech for like 3 months. Like I knew the speech better than I knew my own name, for sure. I didn't need to look at that. So me and her were just whispering by each other, just talking. And we were talking about going to see the last Harry Potter movie. Look that up. The last Harry Potter movie, I think, came out in 2011. And we were like, okay, Harry Potter comes out in a couple months. When it comes out, we're going to go to the midnight showing and we're going to do this and we're going to eat that. And we're going to go here. We're going to do this. And she was like, yeah. We're going to do all that. Blah, blah, blah. Like that's what we're doing. And everyone around us is just like cramming their speech. And I noticed the energy of whenever people would go up in front of the audience. There's no stage presence, darling. No stage presence. No oomph. No va-va-voom. They were all just like, "你好，现在我是学中文，我的中文名字是 It's like this. Like, this is everyone's energy. And I'm like, why is this a thing? So then it was my turn to go up. I didn't have no paper. I didn't have no shoes and nothing, Jesus, okay? And then I was just like, here, I'll try to do my speech. But even though I really don't. Oh, she pushing you in Chinese is why you speak it fluent today. Heck, yes. I'm not even mad. I was like, dude, okay. So she, no, what happened? So I go up to do my speech. It's my turn. And I'm not nervous at all. Like, I don't know, for me, I'm not really scared to do public speaking if I know what I'm talking about, if I have confidence. If I don't know what I'm talking about, then I'll be like, I'm going to be riffing in the weirdest way. But like, otherwise, I'm really not afraid to talk in front of people. So, which is funny because my dad and my mom are both like petrified of public speaking. Like, my dad says like his biggest fear is public speaking. Yeah. Anyway, so I went up there and I was like, 大家好，我叫荣可丽，就是很漂亮的意思。你觉得我漂亮吗？今年是我第一年学中文。I forget the rest. And it was funny. So she said something like, "Oh, 中国有很多元的文化和历史，什么什么什么什么什么什么什么 just means what? What, 什么什么 I don't remember. 什么什么什么 whatever. And then I remember at the very end, she had me say, 我爱中文，我爱中国，谢谢大家. It was like, I love Chinese. I love China. Thank you. Oh my gosh. So then we had to sit through like 50 other speeches. Oh my God. We sat through so many speeches. I think we were there for like 4 or 5 hours. It was a long day. And my speech might have been like 2 minutes long. So yeah, that's why I don't really remember it. I don't know where to find that speech. It's not that deep. It was something like 中国的金融很发展 or something. Oh no, 经济很发展. Like China's economy is growing and whatever, stuff like that. Like, oh, I want to go to China, like something like that. So 2 minutes of me being like, this is my first year learning Chinese. Gino, hi, this is my name. This is like just really simple stuff. I like China because China has a really vast history and their culture is so deep and profound and like stuff like this. And then the economics of China, they're becoming la 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 la, like that. Like, well, I love China. I love Chinese. Thank you. That was my speech. So then at the very end, when they were announcing all the winners, like I was not even paying attention because I promise you guys, like I really did not care about this. Not to say I didn't care, but like it just didn't mean much to me in terms of like winning or losing. I just did it to do it. And I think that's kind of how things work because when you were like imagine all the people who are like, oh, I have to win. They lose because they have to win. So therefore, duh, you're going to lose. It's like counterintuitive or a negative reaction, positive, negative. What do I know about physics? But yeah. So I remember, again, me and my best friend at the time. If you haven't seen my video about me being left by the same human being in Aruba, you guys, well, I'm not going to say click anyway. Y'all go look for it. It's there. It's 2 parts. What happened? So we were talking about something else and wasn't paying attention to any of the winners because they were like announcing all the winners. And I could tell like when my name came up, my English name, Kiara Burrows, there was some kind of like, and they had a PowerPoint that showed your name, right? And so once that happened, me and my friend were talking, and we're not looking at the screen or the board or the front. We're just talking about whatever, and my grandma screams next to me. She goes, "Kiara Powers!" Because the lady who was announcing the MC, she like had hesitated to say my name because it was so hard to pronounce. She was just kind of like, and then my grandma screamed, it was like, I was like, oh. So I went up and got my trophy and took my little picture. And then after that was when I had like a revelation of like, wow, I'm actually learning Chinese. this is actually a thing. Like I didn't really, I just thought, I was just kind of like doing it because this lady kept bothering me about it. And I didn't expect to actually be good at it or like it. I just kind of was doing it because to get her off my back. That's kind of why. And then same with the speech contest. It was like, I wasn't out to really win. I just was like, she kind of asked, can someone do it? And I was like, all right, I'll do it. I'll do it. Like, you need someone? All right, I'm here. Hey. And so after that, I was like, wow, I should go to China. I should go to China. And it just kind of like, it was really weird. So after the speech contest, I went to the teacher on the next Monday and I was like, brought home the trophy. She was crying. She was like, oh my God, what? She was like, and then I said to her, I want to go to China now. And she was like, oh, really? I said, yeah, I want to go. Can you help me? Can you help me like, arrange it? Because for me, I'm like, I don't even know step one to try to go to China. Like, I don't even know the capital of China at this point. Like, I've just been learning Chinese for like the better part of a year, a little less than a year, and I didn't know anything about the country itself at all. I mean, of course, I heard of the Great Wall of China and I've heard of Shanghai, but I didn't know what these Beijing. Like, I don't. That's the two places I knew. I've heard of Hong Kong, but didn't know any historical or anything of it. I've seen Mulan, like, but I don't know anything about China. And so she got a Chinese newspaper, and I can't read at that point, or barely can read. I know like 40 characters. 40 characters is not a lot. You got to know like thousands to read a newspaper. And she goes to the travel section, and she highlights some numbers, and it's like, okay, call these numbers and go from there. And they were like travel agents. So I booked a tour with the Chinese tour company for $1,100. No, $1,400. 1,400 to go from Beijing to Shanghai for 2 weeks, or it was like 12 days. 12 days, and you stop in different cities. So we went from Beijing, then we went to Suzhou, then we went to Nanjing, Suzhou, Nanjing, Huangshan. Am I missing one? Hangzhou. Yeah, Hangzhou, Huangshan, Shanghai, and then we left. So when I booked the tour, or before I booked the tour, I couldn't find near one person to come with me. Not one person was willing to go to China. Let me tell you how trifling that is. Because if it were London or Paris, yeah, I'm sure someone would have come up with the money or whatever. Because I mean, I know $1,400 is a lot of money, but like all of my friends are like single living with their parents kind of thing. Like, and they have like part-time jobs or, so for me, like coming up with $1,400 was not like $1 billion. It wasn't like $10,000. It's 1,400, you know? And I couldn't find anyone to come with me at all. And I was just kind of like, well, I'm not going to not go because I can't find anyone. So I still went. And I remember everyone told me, like people who have never been to China, same ignorant like me, like don't know anything about China, not Chinese, nothing. They're just like, don't go. You're gonna get killed, raped. They're gonna hurry your organs on the black market, and then they're gonna feed you dog and all these like stereotypes and it's like hysteria, not based around logic, just based around irrational like misconceptions of a country that they've never been to, don't know anything about, and that the media portrays poorly. So I didn't listen. So I remember when I was working at the grocery store still, I worked there for 3 years. I believe they meant for them to go for some. I agree with that. I agree with that. Everything's in the stars. It was all about me. It was all about moi. So when I went on the tour, oh, wait. Before I went on the tour, I was still working at the grocery store, and I met this man, this older gentleman. He probably was like in his 60s, probably early 70s. He was a Chinese man. And I'm like, at this point, I moved up from grocery bagger to like, this is like 2 years after I started working there, to cashier. And I was like the best cashier because it's just, how do you be a best cashier? I mean, I was always the fastest one, like, and like, what's the number for artichoke? 1477. What's the number for rutabaga? Carrot, what's the number for? And that's how they would be. Basically, I basically ran the place. Not ran the place. I ran the cashiers. Because I'd be like, oh, y'all, come on. How do I return something? I'm like, oh my God. So anyway, I was good at being a cashier, but I was terrible at customer service. Can you guys imagine? You guys know how I am. I was just kind of like, oh, people, not going to talk to me any kind of way. I don't care anything about that, like, customer service lie. No. So I'm gonna bag your groceries. I'm gonna give you the hi, how are you? Okay, good. But doot. There was like some people that I would talk to. I made like a lot of interesting people like that I'm still in contact with through working at the grocery store. But this particular guy, I remember it was late in the evening. I'd never seen him before because most of the people who shopped at that neighborhood store were regulars. And he was like, oh, I asked him. So he had bought like scallions, some like jellyfish or like shellfish or something that was wrapped up, and something else, like some ginger. And I just happened to ask him, oh, what are you cooking? And I never asked any of you. So I told you I don't have interactions on the like I just would do. Have a nice day. Do. Hi, how are you? Have a nice day. Like that. Like robotic. And for some reason with him, I saw him as a human cooking something, and I was just like, oh, what are you cooking? He was like, I'm cooking this and that. And I asked him, are you Chinese? Yeah, I'm Chinese. And then he was like, I said, oh, I'm learning Chinese. And he's actually a Guangdongan, like a Cantonese. He's Cantonese. And so he does speak Mandarin, but it's like heavily accented, and I'm like, and I barely spoke Chinese at that point. I can just, converse a little bit. And so he started speaking to me in Chinese, and I was just like so moved by it. I was like, oh my God, ni hao, oh, blah, 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 as much as I could say. And then I think I told him, I'm going to China in a few months, and blah, blah, blah. Like, how is it? Have you been there? Like asking him this type of stuff. And he was like, oh yeah, I actually have a friend who's your age who you should meet when you go there. It was a girl, not a boy. It would have been too much like right. It would have been too much like right. But I'm gonna keep on living. I'm just gonna keep on living the way I'm living. So then what happened? He's like, oh yeah, her name is Sugar. Yes, her name was Sugar. And she's cool, she's your age. Like, I'll give me your email and I'll email her and like, like CC you guys, like put you in contact. And so we were in contact for all those months, for like a couple months since I booked the trip to going. So that's like 3 months. And she was living in Beijing, but she's from Sichuan. And she was like, oh yeah, when you come here, I'll meet you at the Great Wall, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, this is my tour. This is what they're going to be. She's like, here's my number. We're going to meet up there. And I remember we met up when I went to China. So basically when I went on the trip, it was 2 Chinese American families, right? And me. And it just so happened that there was an odd number. And the odd number was me and one of the girl who was with her family. And she was the same age as me. And also from San Francisco. And we ended up like rooming together. Her name was Gloria. I really want to find Gloria. Can some of y'all help me find Gloria? I don't know her last name. I gotta find some people. I gotta do some digging. I should just like look up Gloria San Francisco and just scroll through till I'm blue in the face. So when I went to China for the first time, I mean, I told you guys, everyone had told me like basically to be afraid. except the people who had actually been there, like the guy Chemo was his name. And I remember I went to his house once for dinner, and he made me the most beautiful dinner ever. It was like so Chinese. It was just so nice. And he was like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna go to China, you're gonna love it." Blah blah. He was the one who gave me like the what is it, the kind of reassurance that I needed. And I was just kind of like everything was falling on deaf ear for the other people. Were like, "Oh my god, why would you want to go to China? Ew, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to go there? You're gonna get oh my god, they're racist. They're gonna be this. There's gonna be this." And I was like, that's how I ended up finding your older channel, especially through Blacks in China. The Blacks in China. Yeah. So I missed that show. Which one? The Black Girls in China, like pre Weiwei deletion, or the one guy? I don't remember his name, but he had the long dreads. But I met him years after I had already been in China, like maybe 2015. So this what I'm talking about is 2011 for the first time I ever went to China. So like when I got there, um, and I did the tour. So this is like one of the most enlightening, not enlightening, like inspiring stories I can tell about learning Chinese. So I remember I was in the Beijing airport, not Beijing airport, San Francisco airport, headed to Beijing. So I booked the tour, and it's kind of like you book it and then they just have your name, like on the card, and you just have to hope they're there. Because I was like, oh my god, what if nobody shows up? Yeah, and this guy. So this was 2015. So I'm like talking 4 years before that. Um, so anyway, I was in the airport waiting for my flight, about to go to China for the first time on a tour that I randomly booked. And I'm like in my head, like, oh my God, what if no one's there? Like, what if I go there and no one shows up? And I was like really scared, right? I was kind of like, my goodness, I'm going on this flight to a place I've never been, to this country that's supposedly gonna have like feed me dog and kill me and harvest my organs, but I'm still going. What am I doing? What am I doing? So I met this woman in the airport. She had two young children. Her children were probably like 7, 8, 9 years old. Um, and she was reading a newspaper, and she didn't look Chinese. Like everyone else waiting in the gate looked Chinese. She was the only one who didn't look Chinese. So I don't remember how we started talking, but I noticed her reading a Chinese newspaper, and I was like, oh, how did you learn that? And she told me she was from Mongolia. And even though Mongolia is China's neighbor, the languages have zero in common. They do not use the same writing system. They do not have any kind of links at all. So I said to her, like, you're reading a newspaper. I will never be able to do that. And she just said to me, oh, it's possible. It's possible. And I was like, oh, no way. Like, look how many characters there are. I know like 14 characters. I know like every like 12 lines that say, oh, I know that one. I know that character. Like, that's it. She's like, oh, no. It's possible. Trust me. It's possible. And I don't know. I just kind of remember that interaction. I remember like also she was nice enough to be like, she's like, oh, so like we talked for like a while, and she was like, if you need any help, here's my number. Like in Beijing, we live there. Like you'll be all good. I said, okay, because I'm really scared if they don't show up. Like that's my biggest fear. Just oh, don't worry. I'll help you out. And so yeah, nothing happened. Like the guy was there holding the sign with my name on it, and I met my tour people and Gloria and her family and the other family. And I ended up messaging this woman, and I just said to her, like, oh, thank you for all your help. Like, I appreciate it. Best of luck to you. My tour people were here. Blah, 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 blah. I'm all good. Thank you. And what happened? So the following day, we ended up going to our first day, because I think we arrived in Beijing in the evening. So it was dark out. And what happened? It was raining. I remember it was pouring raining. We go to Tiananmen. Have you guys heard of that? Tiananmen. Tian and then Tiananmen. It's like called like the Heavenly Gates, but it's where uh, it's it's where the Forbidden City is, and it's like where you'll find this big old Mao Zedong portrait, and it's a tourist trap. So we went there, and it was pouring raining, but it was still summertime. It was really hot, and what happened? I was looking for the girl Sugar to come meet me, and she was like, "I'm already here," and she had been there waiting for like an hour. We couldn't find each other. It was like a whole mess. The tour guide is trying to call her, and all this stuff, and it's like raining, and it's hot, and it's just miserable, and I'm just like, and my tour guide is trying to like do his job and like tour us around. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to find my friend. I'm trying to find her. Finally, I don't know how long it took, but we ended up, after like an hour or so, we finally end up finding her. And she like takes me around. And you'll see, like, if you look at my first time in China video, um, her, like, she was so cool. And then what happened after that? Oh, I remember. So we're at Forbidden City and Tiananmen, and people people are just wanting to take pictures with me, and I loved it. Like, I don't know why most people find that so insulting. Like, oh, don't take pictures of me. I'm like, take pictures of me. I don't know. That's how I was, and I swear, when I was with the whole group, they were like, "You need to start charging." She's, you need to start charging people. You would have made easily, like, I swear to you, it was like nonstop at these tourist places. But like, if you're just living your day to day life, at least me, when I was in Shanghai, like, it's a big city. Seeing foreigners is not that deep. So nobody asks you to take pictures. It's only when you go to like the Bund or like really tourist traps where you're kind of getting like the Chinese country bumpkins. Those are the ones who ask you. And then like, like, where from? Middleton, Tennessee. We have never seen Negroes. That's like the Chinese version of that. So like, they're gonna ask you for pictures, but like, you can easily I just wouldn't take it personal. Anyways, so yeah, I went on the whole tour. No, the only thing that really shocked me in China from the first time I went, because I loved it. I loved it, right? There was only one thing that I hated, and that I was like, y'all wanted to warn me about all of the terror and fear mongering of China, but y'all didn't warn me about this, and that was the toilets. That was the toilets. Like, I like to think that I've watched a lot of TV and I've seen a lot of things. I had never seen a squat toilet before that. I had never even seen one on television. Never even seen one in a book, a magazine, nowhere. So I was shocked. And I remember, like, we were in Tianzifang, not Tianzifang, that's in Shanghai, Tiananmen, or Forbidden City, like our first day there. And Gloria, like, we're going to go to a bathroom break, and Gloria comes out of the bathroom and she says to me, like, brace yourself. Be like, I need you to brace yourself, because I know you ain't ever seen any of this. Like, I need you to. And I was like, what, how, like, what? And I went in there, I said, what is that? What are those? And then, no, that was the only thing. And you know what's really funny? So in Chinese, not in Chinese, but like Chinese censorship, they have what they call the 3 T's, and these are 3 things that you are not supposed to talk about. Period. Like Western media trying to come into China, that's their rule. Do not talk about the 3 T's, and those 3 T's are Tiananmen. So like there was a massacre that happened at Tiananmen. Just Google that. Google Tiananmen, and then you'll see. So Tiananmen, Taiwan. You can Google why about Taiwan too. You might just want to Google the three T's. And then Tibet. Like these are three things the Western media cannot bring up, or else the Chinese government will be pissed. The party will be pissed off and like either kick them out or not allow the footage to go through, stuff like that. So apparently, like this was just a running joke that they added a fourth T. The fourth T was the toilets. There was some kind of documentary that came out, and I don't know what the documentary is about or who made it, and but it was something about it shows some of the toilets in China, and it just made China look bad. It made them kind of like lose face, you know. And so yeah, now it's like those three T's and a bonus one, toilets. Yeah, I don't know if that was funny, but that's like an interesting cultural tidbit. Yeah, so I went to China for the first time by myself. Oh, and then with Sugar, we ended up ditching the tour. We ended up ditching the tour and going to BLCU, Beijing Language and Culture University. So she took me to the campus. She was like, "Oh, you should study at this school." Right. And I was like, okay, you know, so anyway, I finished the whole tour. And then when I went back, I ended up saving money at the grocery store. And then I resigned. Do you resign or do you quit? When it's a grocery store, like when you're, yeah, I didn't resign. I mean, I don't know, quit. I put money. Anyway, so I got what's it called? Oh, I enrolled in a 6-month program to study Chinese for intensive language in China or in Beijing at Beijing Language and Culture University for 6 months or for one semester. And moving there was a whole mess. But I don't know. I think that's like, do y'all want a part 2 of this? Because I think this is going to be part 1 of the live. But I can tell y'all in another one because it's going to be like another hours on it. I'm just like, I can only talk so much to myself, you know? But yeah, that's like the first time I went to China. Okay, wait, no, I can tell a little bit more about that trip in China. So I remember, and this is like my favorite picture of myself ever, or one of my favorites. Like, I went to China, or the Great Wall of China, and I wore high heels. Didn't bring the change, and I wore this see-through dress. Can you believe it? Like, and I just felt like a model, or like, because people were like trying to take pictures with me, and it was just like living my best life. Let me see, where is that picture? It's like scattered in my phone because my phone is kind of old, but not old enough to have that picture. But it's somewhere in here. Maybe it's on my Facebook. Let me see if it's on my Facebook. So yeah, I was like strutting, you know, wearing that dress, living my best life, and I loved it. Let me see. How do I look for, oh, here we go, photos, uploads, albums. I know I have a China album. China. Oh my God, see, look at this. This was the first squat toilet I had ever encountered in my life. And I was like, what is that? You get used to it. After being in China for so long, you just, what is a squat toilet? Like, who cares, right? Okay, this is not me on the Great Wall, but oh my God, I'm so skinny here. See, I was wearing my little heels, you know? But those heels were so comfortable. Like, they were just sandals, you know? They weren't like stilettos or anything, but yes. And you can see, look at the dress. Yes. But no, here's my favorite picture. See, like, can y'all see that? And then This one, it's at the Great Wall. Let me see. Okay. Yeah, that's like one of my favorite pictures. And what else? So, and there's another thing that I remember. We had different tour guides in different cities, and like the girl I was with, Gloria really didn't speak any Mandarin. She only spoke some Cantonese, and she could understand Mandarin, right? And if you go to China, like the odds of mainland China people speaking Cantonese are slim to none. Like, no, it's like you're trying to find someone in America who speaks French. You're like, oh, okay, maybe very rare. Um, but what was I gonna say? So like I would try to talk to my tour guides in Chinese. It was so cute. Like I barely spoke at that point, but it was just I just tried my best. And I remember we went to Nanjing, and in Nanjing there was like this night market, and I got my portrait drawn. Right, you know how like people do that, like not a caricature. It was like a actual live portrait. And so I'm here posing, and I'm just sitting regular, and dude, like there was a crowd of 100 people just watching me and taking photos. It was so random. And like everywhere I went, and at that point, they would be like, "Oh my god, can I take a picture with you?" and stuff like that. And I still don't understand. I mean, I do get it. I do get that like people get offended by. I've seen someone like, have you guys heard of Megan Milan? Follow her on Instagram. She's like this really breathtaking model, like stick thin, super tall, long hair. Her wigs are like, she looks basically like Donna Summer, but a very, 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 very thin version. And she has like a TikTok about just showing little clips of her taking pictures with other people in her travels. Like I know she's been to like Sri Lanka and other places and stuff like that. And she just takes pictures with other people. And some people were commenting like, "Oh, that's terrible. Like she's not a zoo." And it's like, why do you take it that way? You know what I mean? Because I've noticed that, um, at least for me, whenever people ask to take pictures with me, it's just out of curiosity and wanting to capture a moment, the time where they saw someone who they don't see all the time. Is that so bad? I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think about that. Because for me, I don't mind at all. I'll take pictures with you as long as like, and I've had people in China like try to sneak a picture, and don't act like you've never snuck a picture of somebody. That's why I just try to say like it's not that deep. Like just it's just a picture. It's it's not like it's a gun. So like I've had people be like this, and I remember one guy, he had a flash on, and I was like, "You took a picture of me?" And I said it in Chinese, "You took a picture of me?" And he's, "Oh, mail, mail, mail. No, 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 I didn't. No, I didn't." I said, "Let me see your phone. Did you take a picture of me?" 你偷拍了我的照片吗？偷拍了吗？给我看，我看你手机吗？看你手机，我看，给我看。Oh, oh, 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 oh. Like do that. And I said, okay, like how? Now I'm I said, like, let's take the picture. Let's take a picture together. Because I just, whatever. It's not that deep. But like, I remember me and my friend Brianna, when we went to not Tibet, we didn't go to Tibet. We went to Sichuan province, Chengdu. We went to Chengdu and literally did the same thing. I swear, Tibetan people look unlike any other people I've ever seen in my life. Like, and it's fascinating. And it's not to say like, oh my God, look at those people. It was like, oh my God, can we take a picture with you? Can we remember this moment? Like me and Brianna, we're both Black women in China, and we wanted to take pictures with Tibetans because they just looked so, just looked so unique. And I was like, oh my gosh, they don't look like Indian people. They don't look like Chinese people. They look super distinct, like Tibetan people. And I was like, we've never seen people that look like you, And they were just like taking selfies with us, and that was it. And then they went about their lives, and we went about ours, and I cherished that moment. I just wish people would stop taking things so personal and stop thinking like everything is fueled by hostility. Like if it's hostile, then okay. But 9 times out of 10, it's not. Like I don't even know. I've never felt threatened or anything in China. Not even once. Not even in like compromising situations that I've been in. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what else happened in China, my first trip. Um, hmm. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it just kind of solidified that I never want to take a tour ever again in my life because tours suck. Everything is like arranged, even like, and then also tour guides, they have like, they get commission from vendors. So like you'll spend X amount of time at a tourist spot. Oh, she said not even when you got the. Okay, well, yes, that's the one time. That's the one time that I can talk about. The one time I got thrown out of the club. I think I've probably been thrown out of a couple clubs, but that was ghetto. That was so ghetto. I was like, this is not even right, and I should have taken a better stand. But what was I? I was so surprised. That was so crazy. They literally, because for me, like, I'm a rag doll. I just throw me, fling me, throw me. That's fine. I don't care. But her, she could barely even walk, and the guy like picked her up and threw her down these like concrete stairs or like next to the stairs or something, and she would have lost her balance and fell down those stairs and probably broken her neck. And you know what? If that happened, good on them, because trust me, the last thing they want is to hurt a foreigner. Like, I mean, I know it seems like they don't care, but like, especially a white foreigner from Australia. Oh yeah, they would have had to. They would have had their comeuppance. Um, but yeah, no, like luckily I had grabbed her arm because like I would much rather her be safe instead of like having to go through the logistical red tape of getting some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, remedy, you know? Yeah, that was weird. Oh my gosh, I should re-upload that video. I should. Other than that, I'm trying to think of yeah, there's probably been other situations that I've had that were like weird and probably not the most safe, but other than other than those, I've never felt unsafe. Oh my gosh. Okay, wait. Hmm. I'm trying to think. So yeah, this was me trying to talk about my Chinaversary. 10 years. 10 long years since the first time I went to China. Which I think was like July 12th to the 24th. Ooh, so I made it. I made it. Today's the 23rd. 10 years ago, a decade. If you would have told me at 18 I would have lived in China for 8 years, huh, I wouldn't have believed you. Yeah, I can't believe I spent so long there. And y'all know I want to go back. I don't want to go back to live, but I don't want to live anywhere because I don't want to pay rent other than here because I don't have to pay rent. But like, I'll go and, do an Airbnb or, stay in a nice hotel for some months at a time. My old boss, he was living between the Netherlands and Shanghai for years, like going back and forth. And he said it was just way more beneficial for him to just, you can get a hotel on the trips he comes. What's the biggest reason you don't want to go back? The rent thing. The having to support myself thing. Well, the issue is like work visas is an issue. I don't want to deal with that. Like, um, if you're a student in China, they'll give you a visa, like no issue. They'll give them to anybody. You study here, you get a visa. But with work visas, especially in Shanghai, like you got to go through a lot of like just procedure, authentication, notarization, authentication. Oh, no. You got to go there and do this, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I do think work visas are hard to get in general. Like it's, if you get hired by a company who has a Chinese uh, subsidiary or whatever, they can get you a visa for sure. But it is a process. Like for me, I worked for my company because I think like when I had a student visa, which was the 7 years that I was there, all on student visas, a variety of them. I think I had like 4 or 5 different student visas over. No, yes. I had like 4 or 5 because like my very last visa was 4 years, so it was my whole Fudan University time. Um, so I didn't have to worry about the visas for 4 years. But like before then, it was not the same procedure to get a student visa. Like you just go to the consulate or embassy, whatever, pay money, pay whatever amount of money, put in your passport, then you pick it up, and then when you get to China, the school is going to arrange for you to do whatever. They do all of that. You know, they say, okay, bring your passport. We're going to have the visa day, and then after that, it's done. But with the work visa, even if your company works, even if you have a company that's in China, you have to have a lot more qualifications, and they have to do a lot more out there because, like, I think it's kind of like even in the United States, I feel like it's somewhat the same way. Like to work abroad, they put a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? Barriers to entry, because I'm not going to say they don't want like foreign people working there, but they want to. My mom always says this, like whenever the visas were a hassle, or when I was trying to apply for the Chinese government scholarship, and it was just all this like running around and calling the people, and going here, doing this, going there, doing that, getting this, getting that, signing this, getting this stamp, getting that this, getting that. And I'm like, what is this whole thing? She's like, they're just trying to wean out the weak. Weed out the weak. She's like, that's all they're trying to do. So just keep doing whatever. So with my for instance, for me to work in Shanghai, because I graduated in 2018 and I simultaneously found a job that same year, like before I had graduated. And so the HR people were like, we know you're hired and that's great, but getting you a work visa is going to be a challenge because you have not you don't meet the qualifications to work in Shanghai. I'm like, oh, because I had to have 2 years of postgraduate, relevant postgraduate experience in the industry. So I was working in PR because they basically want to know that you are the only person qualified to do this job, not that a Chinese person or a local can just do it. Like we have to get a foreigner. That's what the company's kind of telling them. Only this foreign person is qualified to do this job. So you have to prove to the government that, so you're telling me no other Chinese person can do this job? Kind of thing. Like if that makes sense in so many ways. So to work in Shanghai, which is the economic epicenter of China, they require you to have 2 years of experience in the field. I just graduated, so I don't qualify. And so what we had to do was, my company, thankfully, they had companies throughout the whole country. So I technically worked for their Yunnan company. So here's a Yunnan province. I can't see. I thought I'd take off my glasses. Yunnan province. So I technically worked for the Yunnan company, not the Shanghai company. So like even when before I found my job, I was trying to just teach English just to stay in China, and I already had worked for a school, and they basically told me like, look, you have a job here. That's no issue. The issue is getting you a work visa. The best we can give you is a business visa, but you got to leave the country every 30 days. I'm like, that's a lot. That's a hassle. Like it's great when you think about it, like, oh my God, yay. Oh, every 30 days I'll go to Bali and I'll go to Hong Kong and Singapore and then I'll go to France. And no, but that's money. That costs a lot of money to be going in and out of the country every 30 days. Just to enter and exit. That's a lot of money. It adds up. So like the cost is crazy. So luckily for me, my company had a company in Yunnan province. And so that's where my visa was, where they're which is not like the middle of nowhere, but it's like way out west. It's like having a company in Nebraska, like California. If you know like California labor laws and stuff like that, very 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 strict. Just like California tax laws, very 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 strict. Companies get their butts handed to them here, but if you go like to Nebraska, like I'm sure the bar is way lower because they want to incentivize companies and stuff to come to Nebraska because who's coming to Nebraska? So you're not to say you're not as like the Nebraska of China. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's like just like not a small province by area, but a lesser developed province, right? Way out west. Is that west? Yes, for me. I don't know which direction that is. This is the map that way, west coast. Um, yeah, so luckily I was able to get my visa there. But before I could even get my visa, because like let's just say like this, my visa for school expired July 31st, right? Yes, I did travel to Yunnan. I think I did twice. Twice. So basically I came home summer 2018. And I remember I had to renew my passport because my passport was what's the word, expiring that same year. And then, which was really easy, like I just got it expedited for like, it took like 2 days. And then I don't know, I had to get some papers and I had to go to the embassy, and the embassy prints out something, and then you fax it over to your company, and then they put a stamp on it, and then they have to take it to the hoop, which takes 5 to 6 business days, and they give it back to you, and then you take it back to the embassy, and the embassy, the consulate, you take it back to the consulate. The consulate does something, and the consulate says, okay, now you got to get this notarized and authenticated by the minister of labor or foreign affairs or something like that. Like it's all this stuff. Like I'm not saying the exact procedure because I don't really remember, but it was all this stuff. It took me like 8 weeks. I was home for 2 months doing the visa, and my boss, being the freaking jerk he is, knowing he's a foreigner too, but he's been there for 20 years, so he probably has some kind of like entrepreneur visa. Like they have those type of things. Like if you own a company of certain size and certain revenue and blah 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 blah. They have a whole separate visa, but I'm just a little recent grad, so I don't have that privilege. So for me, it took me 2 months. I'm like, the visa process is a thing. Like I'm not just here twiddling my thumb. I'm waiting for this and that and this and that. So it took me 2 months, and then when I got there, when I got to China, I had to still go to Yunnan to do some other stuff, do like a medical exam, certain vaccinations, register at the police station, blah, 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 stuff like that. So they just don't make it easy. They don't make it easy for the work visa. And like, so when I lost my job, I was like, I'm not trying to deal with that. I'm just not, because like I could have scrambled to find another job, but like, I mean, I already had one lined up. I'm talking about because I worked at the Chinese, not the Chinese, at the English teaching school, English center, ESL, whatever for kids. It was like an after school language program or something. And I was like, but like I said, I already knew all they could do for me was give me a business visa, which means I have to leave every 30 days. And looking back, I think everything was kind of like in the cards because even though I loved living in China and I feel so comfortable there, it did get old. It's like I want something fresh, something new, and I was kind of like living my best life, but at the same time needing, maybe longing for some kind of adventure or something different. So I think like I would have never left on my own. And that's another thing. I would have never quit my job, even though it wasn't working. Um, but it was just time. Like the universe said, it's time to go. And I think I told you guys a story, but like, I did. No, I recorded it, but I haven't edited it yet. But when I lost my job, I was the day of. I had told a friend, which I never said this before to anyone, not to anyone. I mean, like this has never happened before. Out of all the stuff that I've been through in China in the 8 years I was there, I never said, "Oh, I want to go home." But that day, I said I wanted to go home. And then fast forward a couple hours later, I got fired. And I was like, okay, I'm going home. It was just like that to me. And everyone else was like, are you sure? Are you sure? And I was like, I'm sure. No, I'm positive. It would be different if I didn't have like family and parents to live with. If I had to like support myself and sustain myself, I would still be in China. I would have just made it work. The 30 days, okay, we go to Hong Kong. Okay, now we're going to Vietnam. Okay, now we're going to I would have did that. But I felt like it was time, it was all aligned. It was all aligned. And then, what else happened? Yeah. So in the last year, oh, what? Yeah. And then after that, like, not that anyone could have predicted it, but COVID-19 ended up happening. You know, so that has kind of. I'm waiting for China to reopen. I'm hoping I can go for a visit next year. Do you think if you were working a dream job, you would have stayed? Oh, what is it? I don't dream of labor. No, I think I did. Well, I kind of had a dream job at the time. It was just, I don't really, my dream job, right, would be no job. I know it sounds like I'm being like facetious, but like, hear me out. I want to do projects and be like foot in every door. I'm like a jack of all trades, master of none. I just hate the idea of being at one company doing one thing. I like variety. Even when I eat, I always say like we're just eating one thing. Like if you eat a burger, I'm like, I like that's why I like eating like Chinese style where it's just like a variety of different dishes and stuff because I just like that. So I want to just be my own boss, my own entrepreneur. But my job that I was working at was pretty good because like um yeah, I don't want to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of their life. Mm-mm. And that's why I'm like I'm gonna tell y'all I'm fun employed right now, and I think I'm gonna remain that way for a while because I mean I'm still looking for jobs. I went to a wedding this past weekend, and I met this girl who does like recruiting for law firms or something like that. And she basically was like, "Oh yeah, girl, you are exactly what we're looking for. We're trying to reinvent or reimagine the way people approach legal work and it not being this like 80-hour a week chained to a desk thing, you know? That's why I want to have my own practice when I finally graduate because I want to create my own hours and prices. Exactly. And you can. And you can. And you can. Mhm. 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 Yep. And I feel the same way. I'm like I just want to um yeah, be able I just want to travel for a living. Like that's it. So I'm going to do that, Y'all, I the universe works in mysterious ways, right? So I thought I found like the perfect job opportunity. That fell through. My friend told me not to blame him because that's not his fault that his biggest client didn't end up taking him. So he didn't need the help that he thought he needed. That's okay. We move forward, onward and upward. So I I applied for another credit card and I got approved. And so now I got some more money and I can just be traveling, honey. I'm going to Greece in 3 weeks. 3 weeks. And I mean like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna arrange any more trips until I come back from Greece because like the world is weird. You know what I mean? The world is really weird right now, and because of COVID-19. And I don't know if people are taking the vaccine seriously. I got my vaccine because I'm trying to get back on traveling and like I don't know. I don't have any skepticism when it comes to the vaccine. Like some people, like if you do, fine, okay. But like when someone asks me, like, are you gonna get the vaccine? I'm like, heck yeah. Do you know how many vaccines I've gotten throughout the years? Like I used to have to go back to China every single year, and they would put whatever needle in my. I don't know. I rarely get sick. I've been thinking about going to Singapore instead of China. I feel like it's a bit more diverse ethnic wise. Oh, I've never been to Singapore. Singapore seems cool though. Singapore, you just got the first one this week. Yeah, so for me, I'm like, I don't know. What's in anything? I watched this TikTok. It was so funny. She said like, if you've eaten Lunchables, you don't care about you can take the vaccine. I'm like, yo, how many Lunchables have I eaten in my life? Clearly, we don't care about what goes into our bodies. Lunchables. She said something else. She said um, if you've eaten a 7-Eleven taquito, you should you shouldn't be afraid. Yeah, I got the Pfizer one, but for me, I don't know if we all grow legs, not legs, an extra eyeball in the future. Everything's gonna kill us. I don't know. I'm just being bleak. Whatever. Okay. So yeah, my goal is to just be unemployed. I'm trying to look for a part time gig, but I think the best thing for me is doing freelance. So that's still in the works. I'm not looking that hard. I'm like to if I must admit, but I'm just been working on my channel. Have you guys realized that I've been posting a lot? And I was supposed to post yesterday. No, I was supposed to go live yesterday, but I was not in the mood. I just wasn't in the mood. So here's today. And I was like, oh, let me talk about my Chinaversary. I feel like people do think deeply about a lot of things too, right? And then like it's so inconsistent. It's like so I would like for you guys to like look this up. So it's this dude. It's all in Chinese. So if you want to practice your Chinese, like try to watch it. It's not that easy to watch. It's hard for me to watch too. But this guy is so deep. So he was talking about how our society in in reality is based on complete trust. It is every facet of our society depends on trust. And what he meant by that is like imagine a world where you really couldn't trust anyone. So you go to, I don't know, he said something like a high rise. You're gonna go meet a job interview at a high rise, right? And you meet the guy or the person and you ask the person, how many floors are in this building? And they say, oh, there are 40 floors. Oh, I don't trust you. Okay, I'm gonna go walk up each. each floor to check if there's actually 40 floors. It's like, okay. And then you walk up the 40th floor, and the guy takes the elevator because he's smart and you trust, whatever. And then you guys sit down, and he offers you some water, and he's like, here, okay, here's some water. And he's like, how do I know it's water? He's like, because it is. I don't trust you. Let me, like, you get like a whole beaker and a like that's how society would look like if you couldn't trust anyone. We have to trust people for everything we do. Like, literally, how can I trust that the I don't know, the Dr. Pepper that I buy doesn't have cyanide in it? Because we have set up things in society where bloop, 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 bloop. So if I'm not going to trust the vaccine or the doctors, what do you want? What do you want from me? Because at the end of the day, if I got sick tomorrow, right? If let's just say I'm like a skeptic about the vaccine, and if you are, fine, by all means. If I'm a skeptic, okay, oh, I don't trust the vaccine because government's trying to, like, which doesn't make sense to me because hello, and they're gonna like try to make us into zombies through a voluntary vaccine, as if we don't already put private and public parties into tracking our life. Okay, well, anyway, so let's just say I was a skeptic about the vaccine and I got sick tomorrow. What do you think I'm going to do? Where do you think I'm going to go? I'm going to go to the hospital. That's where I'm going. Period. Like, exactly. That's where I'm going to go. The exact same doctor, the same person, no one different. Like, your physician is like, no, the vaccine's totally fine. No, the government. No, Jeff Bezos. No, Pfizer. No, the government. No, the corporations. No, the trackers and the 5G and he'd be like, very well then. Okay. And then you get sick with, and it doesn't even have to be COVID-19. It can be anything. Where are you going to go? Okay. I just, we all just here for, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. I don't know. Knock on wood. Long live 荣可力. Or no, you could say, 荣可力万岁. 万岁 means like long live, 1,000 years old. 万岁. 荣可力万岁. Anyway, yeah, so that's my Chinaversary. I'm trying to like make some moves, trying to freelance. Oh, there was a way to say hustle. I learned some word. Oh, I've been watching this like Chinese drama. If you guys want to watch it, I'm gonna recommend it, but I don't know if they don't have English subtitles. But I don't know. I used to watch stuff without English subtitles. I would just put it on in the background and just get used to hearing Chinese. But it's called Cheese's Wangyan. It's like the wife's lie. It is so good. It's like good in a cheesy way. But I live for it. I live for the whole thing. And so I'm on episode. I've watched it before. But yeah, this is my favorite drama. So I'm trying to like watch more Chinese dramas so I don't forget. And I'm going to be making TikToks of Chinese. Okay, wait, let me show you my drafted TikTok. Okay, you guys tell me what you think about it. I don't know how to show you other than like hold the screen up. I know this is so random. A lot of people say that there isn't a word for tan in Chinese, so a lot of people end up saying their skin is black when in reality they're as fair as, yeah, that whole thing. I don't know. Yeah, there. Yeah. I can't even. I don't know what to say to that one. That's true. Like, I've had a friend say to me, like, oh, I wish I hate her. And I was like, So it's like shy. Shy is to be exposed to the sun. Halo is like black. Oh, I've gotten so dark or so black or so whatever. And I'm like, not really. I just would make fun of them and just be like, oh, do you not? So what am I? You just gotta like have a sense of humor. Everybody's got to learn. So, okay, here's the TikTok.
Words and phrases I learned from watching Chinese dramas, part 1. 吊胃口. To keep somebody in suspense. Like if someone is taking forever to spill the tea, you can be like, 别吊胃口啦，快告诉我呀.
Okay, that's like the sample. I've been getting back into Korean dramas, and I've been thinking about watching Chinese dramas too. You should totally watch Chinese dramas. Like, I can only recommend that one. Cheese of the Huang Yan, but it's maybe do they have this in America? I found like they have it on YouTube. That's why I'm watching it on YouTube. I wonder if they have it. I think that too. I'm like, if you're black, what am I? I know you are, but what am I? Just be like that. Whatever. You can just tell them, 你瞎说了. 你瞎说了. Just like saying some stupid stuff. Shut up. Shut up. Damn glasses. No, oh, if you look up iQIYI, that's like a Chinese Netflix. They might have, like, for me personally, how I find stuff that I like, you just gotta watch different things, right? You just gotta see what vibes. And so for me, Cheats of the Huang Yan has really vibed, and it's a total vibe, and I love it. So anyway, it's been 2 hours. I was not expecting to talk this long, but as per usual, we always have a good time here. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna head to, I watch all the Asian shows and movies on Viki. I used to watch it on Drama Fever. Oh, I've never heard of either of those. Drama Fever and iQIYI. Oh, not and Viki. I'll look those up. But yeah, definitely. Maybe with like Taiwan dramas, Taiwanese dramas. They might be less like corny than mainland China dramas. Like, yeah. Okay, y'all. It's been a great time. Be looking out for a new video as soon as possible. I think I'm gonna try to upload one tomorrow, Sunday. If not, definitely on Monday. Like, I've got so many video ideas, but just the production of it be a challenge. It'd be a challenge. So anyway, I love y'all. Thank you for watching. See y'all next time. Okay, bye. Oh, there we go.